All right, welcome to today's lesson. We're going to change the way we're modeling. Instead of just bringing our primitives out into the scene and stacking them up and using our modifiers on there, what we're going to do is we're actually going to convert these into editable polygons so that we can start manipulating them. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to build a bench. And we're just going to, you can make yours a little bit different than mine, but I do want you to go through the tools in this tutorial. I'm going to drag and start making one bench leg here, and we're going to try out some of the tools. So I click on my box. I have a box made. Okay, so before we would add some type of modifier to that, but instead of doing that, we're going to right click on this box. We're going to select it. Okay, I have it selected, and I like to right click on it and go to convert. This is one of the easiest places to find it here. Okay, and I converted that to an editable polygon. Now, when that happened, if you notice over here on my modified pane, that automatically opened up, and it is called an editable poly in the modifier list. Okay, I do want to demonstrate one more thing here. If I drag this in, I'm going to do another box here just so you can see this. Okay, I'm going to make it big and so I can delete it. If I go into my modifier list and I go down here, there is a different tool called Edit Poly. That is different than Editable Poly, and that will get you different sets of tools. Some things are the same, some things are different. So we're not going to use Edit Poly for now. What we're going to use is Editable Poly. Okay, and that's why we don't pull it out of the modifier list. We go to convert to. Okay, so that is how we're going to do it, at least for the time being. We'll show some other ways to do that in the future. Once I have that, now what you can see is there are some selection tools here that we can use to pick different parts of this shape, this polygon, and edit it. So I can grab the vertexes, and that lets me grab the corners, and if I'm in my move tool, that will let me move just one corner at a time, and I can manipulate that corner. Okay, so that's one. I can undo that. So I can also grab an edge. That lets me slide and manipulate my shape one edge at a time. Okay, and let me undo that. The border tool works a little different. That doesn't work with every shape. That will work with like cylinders and stuff, but not for what we have right now. I'm going to click off of that, and let me undo here. And we're going to use a lot, the vertices, the edges, and our polygon here. When I do polygon, that lets me do the face. Okay, so if I just grab the polygon tool, if I do the whole element, that lets me do the whole shape. But right now there isn't much to edit on that shape. So I'm going to leave that for now. We'll come back to that in our tutorial. If I grab the polygon, this is going to be one face of our object at a time. You can notice if I move this face now, that stretches the polygon out because I'm pulling that face up or down, and that doesn't change how many breaks or segments I have in here. Okay, so that's with the move tool. If I change my tool now to my scale tool, which is up here, okay, now I can scale the face of this and it will make it more like a pyramid, or I can make it larger. So I'm just going to scale that. Okay, if I go back to the move tool then, okay, remember, if I just drag the move tool, that stretches it, but I don't want to do that. What I can do now is, if you remember how, well, we haven't done it. We're going to hold the shift key down. And now if I grab my arrow, what it's going to do is it's going to duplicate this shape and let me continue doing it. But the shift key is going to let me make a new segment. Okay, so here is my new segment on my shape, and it pulled it up. Okay, so now I can go back to my scale and I can scale this back down. All right, so you can make this a different shape if you'd like, but I just wanted to at least exemplify what we have going on with this specific tool. So we're going to go, and at least for this part, okay, we got this. I can select my whole element now, because if you notice, I don't have this as a square. This is where the element is going to work. And I can scale this down just on one axis, for instance, the y-axis, and make it look more squared off, because I wasn't in in the window where I could see that before. So I go back to my polygon. We're going to go like we did before, and we can click on this surface here. Okay, I click off of it. So I click on polygon again. Now, let's say we forget the shift tool. Can we do this another way? We can. What we're doing, the shift is actually a shortcut to extrude. Okay, so I can go over here with this polygon. I go under my polygon tools. Okay, and I can grab the extrude tool. And now you notice it's connected to my cursor, and now I can pull that up. It goes a little faster than what I'm using right here. And I clicked off of it. So I don't want to just keep doing that, because here, I'll turn our edge faces on so you can see. I don't want a whole bunch of extra lines in here right now. So I'm going to go click off of this. I'm going to go undo, undo, undo. Let me get out of there and get back here. So I'm going to go back to extrude. I want to make sure that I can do my zoom. I'm in extrude. I'm just going to pull this up so our bench leg looks tall enough to kind of have as a leg. One other thing that we haven't demonstrated yet is I can use the move tool. We moved it up and down, right? That makes it stretch here, but we haven't shown what we can do if I grab it and move it on a different vertex. If you notice, that just takes the one segment and it stretches it to the right or the left. Most of our benches that you would see would not be straight up and down. So I am going to give it a little bit of an angle. Okay, so that is it for the first part of the bench. Let's do one more segment, because we want to be able to connect our front leg to our back leg in the next part of the video. So I am going to extrude one more time. I'm still in the extrude tool. No, I'm not. So I will let you choose, either go back to the extrude tool or hold shift down with that top face selected. And this one we want to be kind of the size of a cube. Okay, so make it as a size of a cube. And I'm going to slant that to match the rest of the bench, just to kind of make sure that our bench looks even. All right, thanks for joining me in part one. We have our first box model in our scene. We will come back in part two, and we will clone this, attach it to the back of our bench, and keep going. Thanks for joining me, and we will see you in the next one.